Welcome to Raging Bullets, a DC Comics fan podcast, episode 797. We continue our look at DC KO.
From the sleepy suburbs of Cleveland, Ohio, there are assembled the world's two greatest podcast hosts, created from the cosmic legends of the universe. Sean Whalen.
Welcome to Raging Bullets, a DC Comics fan podcast. I'm a big fan of variant colors. My love for Batman is that stuff. Let's talk some comics.
And Jim Segulin.
How's it going, Ed? You know me and Superman. I'm really loving what we're doing. Raging Bullets is a spoiler podcast.
Their mission, to discuss DC Comics in books, movies, and television several times a month in 1 to 3 hour episodes. And to serve all mankind.
Outstanding.
Welcome to Raging Bullets. I'm Sean Whalen, drnorge, and I'm joined as always by my co-host, Jim, the sensei of the whatnot, Segulin.
How's it going, eh?
Jim, on this episode, we're going to be talking about DC KO, in particular, The Flash 27, Justice League Unlimited number 13, and DC KO Knightfight number 2. We are sponsored, as always, by DCBService.com and InStockTrades.com. Mr. Segulin, what is going on over at DCBService.com?
We have DC KO Boss Battle One-Shot. 38% off, only $309. What's going on is the DC Universe is crossing over with other champions. And some of the examples they listed were Annabelle, Homelander, and Sub-Zero, and more. So that 100% is like, oh crud, that's going to be an awesome fight. Also, we've got Batman by Neil Adams Absolute Hardcover Edition. The complete works of Neil Adams on Batman. 36% off, only $62. We have DC versus AEW, 1 of 2, 38% off, $309. Multiple variant covers, including a wraparound cover. And I saw this title, and it looks really cool. It's called Bleeding Hearts. It's issue number 1, 48% off, only $207. The zombies won the apocalypse. And 10 years after the fall of humanity, they have their actually own culture and their own lifestyles and whatnot. And now our main character in this, for the first time, he's starting to look at humans not like food, but maybe like friends. So I was like, oh, that looks kind of cool. So thank you, DCBS.
Over at InStockTrades.com. This is your collected edition source. One of the ones that they're spotlighting this month for the specials is DC Finest Wonder Woman, Introducing Wonder Woman. And as you can guess, this goes right back to the origins of Wonder Woman. This is a 528-page book, $39.99 regularly, 55% off, only $17.99. It collects All-Star Comics number 8, Comic Cavalcade 1 to 2, Sensation Comics 1 to 18, and Wonder Woman 1 through 4. So if you have not had a chance to look at the origins of Wonder Woman, or if you want like that reader copy, DC Finest is exactly the book that you're looking for. I want to thank DCB Service and InStockTrades.com for continuing to support our show. Mr. Segulin, what kind of a podcast are we?
Raging Bullets is a spoiler podcast. We go in-depth into plotline, story twists, and whatnot of the comics we're discussing on today's show. So if you have read the books, you may want to come back later so you can better enjoy the show.
Let's talk some DC KO. Our first discussion is going to be The Flash 27, Impulse Control Part 2, written by Mark Waid and Christopher Cantwell, art by Vasco Georgiev, colors by Matt Herms, letters by Buddy, Beaudoin, cover by Dan Mora, variant covers by Ben Harvey, Steve Scrose, and Dave McCaig, editors Chris Rosa, group editors Paul Kaminsky, Superboy created by Jerry Siegel by special arrangement with the Jerry Siegel family. I am loving me some Flash. And this is another example of where you don't think about the side stories that could potentially happen in DC. Again, great power source in the Speed Force, and this is all about the Speed Force and how it interacts. I loved everything about this issue. This is wacky Flash stuff that I've always dug. And this just has it in droves. I love the family relationship of the Flash, but also what happens when certain members of the Flash family aren't your members of the Flash family, but they sure look like them.
Oh, God, yeah.
So much going on here that's just really cool. This is a great, great issue. And the cover is fantastic. I love the cover of this one. Fantastic cover.
Oh God, yeah. And I'll tell you, this in the timey-wimey side of this story is one of those things where I was like, man, this is cool. I am so loving that aspect. And you said before, just the wacky flash. Yes, 100%. And I loved some of the art interludes where it's basically Impulse's commentary. So it's more cartoony drawn. So again, it's how the art team and it's the full creative team working together. Because the way the regular book looks awesome. I love this art style. Then you add those little more cartoony looking things that are Impulse's opinions or his mind commentary. I love that. And they really are doing a really cool job with Bart, with Impulse. Again, I talked before how I liked that when he was my original Flash, and I liked that they made him an adult, they made him mature. And then throughout all the events, he went back to being a kid. And when that initially happened, I will admit, I was like, oh man, I liked him as an adult. But again, you're reading again, Impulse is a fun, awesome character. So yes. I'm okay with the fact that they took him and de-aged him again. And they made him Impulse again, because you get stories like this. You get stuff like this where he flies off on an impulse. He's like, hey, we'll back in time. We'll take out Darkseid. No, Darkseid was ready. Now they've completely messed up the timeline. Messed up the timeline even worse. So I love this. This book did a brilliant job of writing for the Flash, writing for Impulse, and even writing for Max Mercury. The Max Mercury.
Or Whip Whirlwind in this particular case.
Whip Whirlwind in this case. But even his writing, I love this writing of him.
Well, the great part about him is, with him being this pseudo father figure, parent, surrogate parent, mentor, whatever you want to call him, and there's so many different loaded things you can call him on that. Teacher. Bart won't always admit it because he's a pain in the neck, but he really looks up to Max. Now you've got a Max who's totally drinking the Darkseid Kool-Aid, and seeing him totally on board about how everything's about the Omega Speed, not the Speed Force, the Omega Speed. We all want the Omega Speed. We want death to the Speed Force, and long live Omega Speed. And I love that he's looking at Max with that cartoony, drooly grin, like something's really wrong here, Houston. But you're right. Those pages where it goes into cartoon and you get brought up to speed by Bart serves a lot of purposes. First, it gives you kind of a flavor of Bart, but also, again, appreciating the reader, bringing you up to speed. I'm a Flash reader right now. I haven't been reading all DC KO. How does this all tie in? Bart's bringing you up to speed super fast, not just on that, but on Legion history. So you don't need to know anything about the Legion. Bart's going to give you the 10-second overview. This is all you need to know to enjoy the book. We're going to have a little fun doing it. Then we're going to flip back into the page where we see this new Legion of Darkseid with Max standing him down. And they were hunting him. They're hunting Allens in general because of the fact that they're looking to take control and totally annihilate the Speed Force. So they need these conduits to the Speed Force in order to take that energy for Darkseid, because Darkseid is. Which is a whole other bit in this, because I love when Bart says, she's like, Darkseid is. Oh, Darkseid is what? I love that he's asking. I love that he's asking the question. Bart is so awesome.
Yeah. And a little bit of that who's on first kind of vibe to it. Yes. Of course, she wasn't in on the joke. She's like, no, Darkseid is. Who's going to get angry?
Well, the funny part about Bart is it's humorous, but he means it. He's like, is what? He's listening and engaging, but he's doing it in a typical Bart fashion where he's asking the question, kind of we all should be. Darkseid is what? Yeah. I love that.
Oh, God, yeah. And it does... One of Bart's unsung superpowers is that he annoys his villains.
Yes.
And when you annoy your villain, you can sometimes get them to make a mistake.
Right.
Whether Bart's doing it intentionally or by accident, just because of who he is, he does have it. It's kind of like in wrestling, you'll see some of the different characters will taunt and toy with the other character, with the other wrestler to try to get them in. The commentators will be quick to say, oh, he's playing mind games, getting them to throw them off their game. And it's also entertaining for the crowd. Same thing with Bart. He has that his natural Bartisms kind of annoy his enemy, and it'll get them to make a mistake. Because when you're just so furious and you're like, you're going to do something, you're going to make an error, and Bart can capitalize off it.
So they've run back through time, and it's not going the way that they intended. And that's part of the problem. They think this tournament idea is wacky, and they're not for it. So they're trying to find another solution. They're trying to go back in time and put an end to all of this, which makes a lot of sense. As far as on paper, it makes a lot of sense. It's just not, as with any time that the Flashes mess with time, it is not going the way that they intended. I love that Wally's kind of bringing us up to speed and grounding us a little bit more. Before he can fully get there, Bart comes flying by. Little help here. We can't really chat right now. We just got to run. I'm being chased. And I love that it's Max that's chasing him, because Max's outfit is identical to his outfit that we see him in present day. I love how this is all playing out, because that would be very distracting. You're not seeing any signs of Legion of Darkseid here. You're not seeing, because he's not part of them, you're not seeing anything that would indicate this is bad Max. You're just seeing Max. So the fact that he's able to get the one-up on Wally initially was really great. It all made sense. I love seeing stuff like this, where we know he's crazy because of his dialogue, but visually you look at him and you're like, but it's Max, right?
Yeah. And one of the things I loved was, again, when you really do see, even underwater, just with the super kick, he can generate, he got to the speed of Mach 12.
Yes.
It's just the massive speed that Wally can generate. And I love when he admitted that Bart was right, that even though the Speed Force was out of whack, in the past, they're even faster. And that was the whole Bart's mindset in the last issue was, hey, we're going to be faster in the past, so we'll be able to really be a beatdown on Darkseid. And he was right about being faster, just not right about the beatdown of Darkseid. Darkseid was ready for him. And I do love that Wally is recognizing Bart was right on some stuff. He's wrong on a lot of stuff, but he's right on some stuff.
They get the jump on Wally, sort of. And I say sort of because of the fact that Wally, one of the things I love about Wally is the strategy of Wally. Mm-hmm. Wally's like deliberately trying to get intel here. So he's letting himself get caught for this purpose, because we see later how easily he escapes when the opportunity presents itself. So a lot of that was Wally sticking around because let me see what I can find out here about what they're trying to do, because they need to understand the motivations of this group in order to thwart them. If you don't know what they're doing, how do you stop them?
Yeah.
So it really, everything that he was doing here just made a ton of sense, trying to gather as much information as you can. It's worth the risk for what he's doing. I just loved the way all of that sequence played out. Really smart writing.
Oh, God, yeah. And again, that is a really cool Wally moment. I 100% agree with you on that. I think, and I like that our villains, we see the Legion of Darkseid are not just a bunch of scrubs. No, this is still a powerful unit. They don't do the stupid stuff. Now they're up against speedsters. So what are they doing? They're bringing in their own speedster. And I do love that they're playing Max or Whip Whirlwind. He will never get any Omega speed.
No,
at all. They recognize he's gullible, and they recognize that he'll do whatever they say for the pursuit of the speed.
And at the most, they'll give him a taste.
Yeah.
So that way, it's almost like an addiction. They're almost feeding an addiction there. And they'll probably, for as long as he's useful, they'll give him a taste. And when he's not useful, they'll discard him. And if he becomes useful again, they'll also continue to give him a taste in order to make him think that it's classic manipulation. It's terrible. But you see what they're doing, and there's a logic to it in the writing, which it does make them very evil, because they just know how, this would not be a world you'd want to live in by any stretch.
No. This is definitely not something we want. And again, it does crack me up how, Bart never stops running, really. He's constantly on the move.
Yeah.
And even with he's going through, he's seeing the trains, he recognized the old style of clothing, so he knows he's in the past.
Yeah. Because
he doesn't know where or when he is.
Right.
And I do love the fact that Trans-Siberian, I guess we're in Siberia. So that's how he's piecing together where he's located at, just by blitz of information here and there. So Bart, again, he's impulsive, but he's not stupid. And I do like the fact that we are seeing that he's not stupid. He's just, again, it's the squirrel kind of mindset.
Well, and he's very well read. So because he gets bored and stuff like that, like even later on, we see that he knows Russian because of the fact that he got bored on the satellite. So he speed read through books. So he's always very smart. I mean, he's not a dumb kid. He brings a lot to the table. I mean, he's very erratic and impulsive. He's got a little bit of Plastic Man in him as far as that type of, but it's different. It's not, I wouldn't cookie cutter them, but there's a little bit of that element of the way Plastic Man interfaces with them versus Elongated Man. Like if you compare those two, they're both stretchy, but they're very different in the way that they operate. And I would say Bart and Wally, you could argue that they have a similar relationship in the fact that one is more of the comedic element, but competent, very competent. The piece that comes in is Bart and Wally. Bart because he's an Allen, and Wally because he's obviously the agent of Speed Force. They want to kill Wally. They want the Allens because they're the original legacy. But Max can't catch them because of the speed issue, which is why they need to call in somebody else, their own speedster, XS. And I love that they're digging into the Legion lore and bringing in the different members of the Legion. Their relationship with the Legion's very, very different. Why they're with the Legion's very, very different. But it was nice to see her as a part of this. And for Bart's immediate recognition, this is my cousin. Yeah. What am I going to do now?
But, and again, absolutely love that. And again, I loved how Bart's running along and she's able to kind of keep up.
Yep.
She does the dropping and you have that great image. Then you flip the page and we get to Wally West's escape. I loved how this played out.
Yeah.
You got Max running around and Wally's trying to ration with him, but there's no rationing with this Max. He's fully drank the Kool-Aid. He's gone. So once Wally realizes, hey, nothing I can do here, bam, knocks him out and snatches a Legion flight ring. That for me was like, oh, that is so cool. That was a brilliant move. That was, again, an awesome Wally West move. That shows just how fast he is, that he can snatch the ring off of Cosmic Boy's hand. And I love the fact that he immediately is like, this is probably works the same principle. He does. So now we've got super speed and flight going here. And I love that he comments, and we get this comment that
enhanced super speed and flight. Because he's got the additional boost from Time Trapper. And thinking the Legion flight ring gives him an additional boost because of the Omega speed. Isn't he sort of tapping into that somehow now?
I don't think so. Because I think Axis has all the Omega speed in her.
I think all the Legion do, don't they? Now, I'm not saying that they run to the same speed XS does, but weren't the other three implying that on some level they've got some tap into the Omega speed?
Well, yeah. Well, they're talking about he does talk about how they got some type of Omega upgrade. So there could be Omega speed tapped into that ring as well.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not saying to the same levels of excess or the speedsters. Right. The way that they were talking earlier about and maybe I'm just talking about general Omega upgrades, but the way that they were talking about Omega speed, it didn't sound like it was just exclusive to Darkseid. It sounded like something that they tap into to a certain extent, not the same way. And I think that's part of the quest, though, right? That if they get the Speed Force, that'll upgrade it. Isn't that what they're trying to do? They're trying to upgrade this Omega speed?
Yes. Well, they're trying to get it so there is only the Omega speed.
Yeah. Which I would assume that it would enhance it if there's no Speed Force.
Yeah. If they can take the Speed Force and combine it and pull it into the Omega speed, and there would only be the Omega speed as the speed factor.
Yeah.
So that means it would be Omega speed plus Speed Force.
I love the shot of Wally flying over the train.
Yeah.
It just looks good. I love this. I will say it again. I'm broken record on this. I love this suit. The right combination of all of the classic Flash stuff. You've referenced before the bolts behind the wings.
Yeah.
They look really cool in this. They do add this sense of speed, increased speed that I really, really like.
Yeah, the elongated and curved around his head. I like that. That looks really neat. And again, adding the black accents into the costume, so it's not just an all pure red. I like that look. And so I'm very happy with the appearance of Flash, and also, again, the story. The storytelling they're doing here is epic. And Of course, given who the writer is, and it's not like oh wow, really? He can write Flash? That's a surprise. No, it's not. This is one of the great Flash writers. So I'm loving this. And
wait, think about the storyline though. One of the things this Jenny is pointing out, she has no cousin. Now think about like things like the Absolute Universe and what's going on over there. Makes sense that pathway does not go the same direction for the Allen clan. So we don't wind up with a Bart in that future. So I love seeing that reveal that's in there.
Yes.
That connection. That's a great attention to detail.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah. And it cracked me up when Bart, because when her and Bart are having their initial thing and he's like, gone. He runs into the train. And I get why he initially did that, but I love the fact that I was thinking the same thing Wally's thinking. Why are you in a train full of innocent people, Bart?
Yeah.
And I love that because I was thinking the same thing, and I love the fact that you were both like, oh boy, Bart. And again, it's part of that impulse nature.
And it's not even just them dying. It's changing and altering their course of history. Wally has been through many times the issue of a little tweak here, a little tweak there causes major ripples. So, he doesn't know who's a biggie potentially on this train where we could be causing some serious problems. But at this point in time, he's like, I guess we're changing history today. I guess we're all in on this right now because we got to keep these people alive at least. So I really love that when the Flashes talk about the responsibility of time and how the tiniest ripple can have a major effect. The whole butterfly effect thing, right? I love stuff like this. This does lead to that cool Dark Side is bit that I was talking about. But the instant part with Jenny, where she looks at Wally, Dark Side wants you dead. Think about that. We do have a Wally in the Absolute Universe as well. So you can see how this Wally West as a concept, no matter which universe, would be a person of interest for this Dark Side.
Yes. But also this Wally West is also a danger to him.
Oh, 1,000%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was the thing. Again, when last issue, when Bart went back and Wally went back with him to catch him, Darkseid was prepared for Wally to attack him.
Right.
Because of how dangerous Wally is to him. So it's something kind of interesting that Wally West is a danger to Darkseid.
Mm-hmm.
The Speed Force is a danger to Darkseid. It's questioning like, what kind of danger is there? And that's something I always do wonder. But I love the fact that, again, we're looking at this and we're seeing exactly what we thought was going to happen. It kill the passengers. That'll slow the nice guys down. First thought the bad guys have is kill the people. And it's what Wally was afraid it would happen. Also, changing history is afraid to happen. All these kind of different stuff. But again, I did love seeing how they get around. Well, they kind of get around it. They protect the people, but it is one of those all hands on deck. Flash needs to do the flashy things.
Well, I love that Bart, because of the fact that he knows Russian, is the saving grace there. Yeah. Think about this. If Bart had not been there, those people would be dead.
Yeah.
Because Bart was the one that alerted them, get your feet off the ground and your hands in the air so that way the electricity doesn't fry you.
Yes.
And that split-second decision saved all those lives, which was really cool. The Legion time bubbles, what they're doing there, they're going to go screw with Barry.
Yeah.
They're basically saying, okay, we failed here. Let's go into the Allen lineage and we'll really cause some fun. This story wraps up with the fact that Bart has no powers now. So what happened? And I can't wait to see the issue where we've got to get to your grandfather. We've got to get to Barry Allen now. So what did they do to Barry? I'm assuming they stopped him from becoming Flash, right?
That's what I'm assuming.
Yeah.
But it can be, I don't know if it can be that simple, to be honest with you, because they could have done a lot of different things.
Well, Bart's still there, so I'm thinking they didn't kill him. Who knows, though?
Well, but here's the thing. If Bart and Wally are kind of doing the timey-wimey thing,
they could still be around.
It would be time paradoxes. So, technically,
but
could kill them off without it affecting them.
Except it is affecting them.
Right.
Because Bart has no powers, so it is affecting them somehow.
Yeah.
So what did they do?
Probably,
Yeah.
probably prevent.
I'm not saying you're. And by the way, it sounds like I'm saying.
I gotcha.
It sounds like I'm saying you're wrong. I'm asking the question. I'm not questioning you, if that makes sense. Because
No, I got yeah.
because I think you're right on your supposition that like they're still in existence, even though technically, when you think about the future coming to the past, maybe there's reasons why Bart shouldn't be there at all because of what Darkseid's already done. So who knows? Justice League.
Justice League.
So Justice League Unlimited number 13. Mark Waid is the writer again, Dan Mora on art, Tamara Bonvillain on colors, Ariana Mayer on letters, cover by Dan Mora, variant covers by Marcos Martin, Laniel Francis Yu, and Sonny Go, Jeff Spokes, Salvador Laraca, Marquise Draper is the associate editor, Paul Kaminsky is the editor, Superman created by Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster by special arrangement with the Jerry Siegel family. I am digging the Dirty Dozen, Terrific 10. This whole concept is just super cool on what's going on here, especially when we've got these superpowered villains because of Neron. And who knew that this is going to become a Neron side story? Is not the right term for it, but it is a portion of the larger story. Who knew that was going to go there? And I am loving the opening splash page or the opening page, I should say, with the Kingdom Come Green Lantern Alan Scott. I absolutely dig that armor. I dig the whole look. There's just something about him. What's great about this is because of the characters that are involved, so many of them have a history together. So this is still Alan Scott. This is still Superman. And this is still Aquaman. And these are guys who are aware of the histories of these characters and the time frames where they were these characters. Even though these guys are echoes and not really real, it's an interesting sort of game that they're playing here. I kind of wanted this to be an ongoing.
It'd be a little difficult, but that'd be kind of neat.
Because I love these characters together, and I love the whole concept of this. I'm hoping that maybe where the story goes conclusion-wise, that there is a way to do more with these characters. But man, do I love the Terrific 10. This is a great cast of characters to put together.
Yeah.
This is the kind of team that, like, it really is. I mentioned it before. This is the toy box, right? These action figures should not be together, but they are. And man, when they are the coolest team up you can possibly imagine.
The thing I love about this story is that going into it, we know they're all expendable. We know every one of them can die.
Yeah.
And probably most of them probably will. So they're calling it's a Suicide Squad, but it's even beyond that term.
Right.
Because like with Suicide Squad...
Well, they're saying Amanda didn't understand that term.
Right. Yeah, Amanda didn't understand the term Suicide Squad. This is a true Suicide Squad. This is one where everybody can die. Usually in the Suicide Squad title, there's one or two characters like, oh yeah, they're a red shirt, they're gone. You know what's going to happen. With this group, you really are like, any of them can die, and they're all big names. They're all we've got actual serious characters who have a history, and they're letting them play out. That's one of the things I love about this story. There's nobody reading this going, they're a secondary character, they'll be gone. All of them are solid characters, solid heroes. So any of them who die is going to be a holy crud moment, you know?
Yeah, I agree with you. And it's one of the cool things about this. I also love that the villains they're going up against in hell. The Demons 3 are known to the Justice League. They've fought them before. The organic interactions between Superman and Aquaman, they're from different times, yes, but they have that shared history even so. So the familiarity with Alan and Superman and Aquaman in this really is working for me. And I love the addition of the additional characters like Gold Hawk. You know, the fact that he doesn't have that history with them, so they're filling in the blanks. I just love everything about how this is playing out as we see the battle going on between them. Guy Gardner Warrior and Power Girl and the whole interactions with them. Can we just go where they go? Because it's the two of that. It's like, I was so shocked and so sad. Power Girl's joking around about the fact that he keeps joking around the boob hole. He's like, how did he term it? The boob window. That's in the front, which has constantly been like the criticism of that classic Power Girl costume. And I love that she basically calling him a pig. The two of them are killed 2 panels later because of the fact that their goal was to buy them time so that way they could get through. These people walked in knowing that they probably were not walking out of this this one. Imagine that. I mean, that's...
Oh, yeah.
We talked last episode about this. Last time we talked about this particular book, we talked about this a lot with these characters. Like, what happens when you feel, I'm alive, I'm breathing, I'm living, but I'm going in and basically being treated like I am expendable because of the fact that I don't exist. At what point, like, I'm wondering if any one of them is going to have second thoughts about this.
Yeah, that was the thing we talked about earlier. And when they first pulled this team together, is Neron going to be able to tempt any of them? Say, hey, now you've seen you're nothing but expendable just to get to me. Now you're here. I can give you a life. I can give you existence beyond this little thing. And that's going to be a temptation for all of them. Now, the death of Guy and Power Girl was like, wait, they just ripped them in half. They ripped the Kryptonian in half. So again, granted, it's magic down in hell, so that's part of it. She's got a weakness to it. But still, the power levels you have to have, even with magic involved, even with hell magic involved, there's still, I think that for me was like a, oh, crud kind of moment.
Can Neron bring him back, I guess is going to be my question. And is he going to be able to tempt him that way? I was asking the question morehand because I do think they're dead, but what is dead in hell?
Exactly. I'll be honest with you. I think one of the temptations we're going to get is I think the final boss isn't going to be Neron. I think the final boss is going to be all the dead team members.
The final boss in what? Oh?
No.
Oh, in this.
Of the Terrific 10.
Perfect. Yeah.
I think this is you're going to be sitting there and you're going to have like Neron's like, oh, excuse me, you think you're fighting me? Oh no.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And all the dead members of the 10 show up. And that's the temptation, I think. Plus also maybe even tempting them, the other people who are there. There's so many. Dude, you have no idea how many different swerves I have going on in my head on this story.
I'm the same way. I actually love that. This one really is tempting the imagination. And I love that. I love a story where I know I'm thinking wacky things. I'm thinking way off the page, but that's making it a fun ride. That you see a lot of I guess what we're seeing is just a wealth of possibilities that the creators are able to play around with right now. And this is fun.
Oh God, yeah. And again, it's why you say wacky, and I agree, wacky, but in reality, it's not for this. We're in hell. Anything can happen down here.
I don't mean wacky in a negative sense. I more meant that the storyline is lending itself to just imaginative storytelling, as I guess really to put it in more of respectful terms, because I really do think this story is very creative, and I'm enjoying the ride a great deal more than I thought I was going to. I knew I was going to dig, like, I love crossovers. I thought this was going to be a fun little thing. I didn't think this was going to be going to the layers that it is. They're having a blast, and I'm enjoying the ride.
Dude, and again, it's this DC. I've said multiple times, and I'll continue to say throughout this is not the event I was expecting it was going to be.
No.
I love the fact that they're doing this to us. And here's the other thing that notion that didn't pop in my head. When everything is said and done, and they have the new Omega champion and all that stuff, and the world universe is reset, all of this can be undone.
Oh, yeah.
So we could end up having the Terrific 10 back. All of them in one piece, 100% thing. If that's what happens in the energy when the whole universe is rebooted again.
Yeah.
There's so many different things that can happen. I am so excited to see what they do. And again, because this is not just a simple, I thought it was just going to be a simple Fight Club kind of story where, hey, let's have people fight. Hey, cool. They're doing so much more with this.
Yeah.
And I so love the fact that we're getting this. And I love the fact that we are getting interactions from characters that I never thought we would. Challengers of Unknown and Blue Beetle interacting. I never thought I'd really see that. Because me and the Challengers Unknown, I don't really know them that well.
Remember this Justice League Unlimited, though, this title, right, by the very premise of it, lends itself to that constantly. So I actually love the fact that the way that the Justice League works, well, think about the way Earth is right now. The people that are left behind are the ones that did not go forward with the DC KO, with the Darkseid tournament. They're not a part of all that. So they're left fending for this. So you're getting the Leaguers that are left behind working together. It is interesting that Blue Beetle's not entered in the tournament. I'm talking about with the Scarab and his power set there, he's one that, well, maybe his experience is the reason why that was not thought of.
The only reason because Jaime was in the tournament and he got killed off. Yeah. He didn't make it into the thing. My only thing I'm thinking is the reason Ted's not in it is because his Scarab didn't have the energy. Remember? He was able to access his Scarab.
I guess what I'm thinking more with Ted, though, is the gadgets and gizmos, all the reasons that Batman would be in there. Yeah. But here's one. Let me pull back and correct myself. Ted is also not one. You don't think of Blue Beetle with armor and different things like that going into battle like that. So I guess I'm kind of correcting myself. I guess because Booster Gold is the situation that he is in this. There's that part of myself that would love to see Ted involved because I'd like to see him and Booster.
Well, here's the thing. The other reason I wouldn't put Ted into the tournament is Ted can fight, but he's not a warrior.
No.
Yeah, and he can throw down, and he needs to, but he would not be good in the tournament. He wouldn't generate enough of the Omega energy in combat or any of that stuff. So when you think about, he's good to keep back here, and also
he makes a ton of sense where he's at. Actually, him and the Challengers working together to get Red Tornado up and running is really helpful because they're speeding up the process. Actually, as Red Tornado's saying, like, you actually got me online faster than I was supposed to be.
Yeah,
which is a good thing. So having Reddy back up and running was a forward movement for this whole team because he would be an effective help with everything that's going on Earth right now.
Yes.
I did love the take on the tournament and just, again, bringing everyone up to speed on what's going on with this tournament, but what's going on Earth with these villains being superpowered by Neron and how that's becoming an issue for the heroes who, even in squads where you've got Kid Flash, Dr. Occult, and Martian Manhunter, they can't handle people like Dr. Spectro and the Rainbow Raider who are, I love this one, no, I refuse to die at the hands of jobbers. Which I really dug the reference. But this is a character who before the Rainbow Raider, they thought he was useless. Yes. And now because of the fact that he's been super powered and souped up, he's become an issue. So I really like that Neron's caused a whole big issue, and they're trying to figure out the end game. That's what all of this is about. The teams on Earth and the teams who have gone to hell are trying to figure out and stop the end game before it comes to fruition.
Yes, and I do love the fact that Rainbow Raiders, again, his powers got enhanced, and he's got access to the spectrum of the emotional spectrum now. So it's like he's a walking kind of Green Lantern, walking all the lanterns. He's got the full color spectrum. I love to see that he's doing that. The red emotion, rage, yellows are throwing in the cowardice, the fear.
Yeah. And
I do love Kid Flash uses the fear to his advantage. He runs away, generates speed, and comes back swinging. That for me was an awesome Kid Flash moment. I love that.
He knows what's going on, too, Kid Flash.
Yeah.
He managed to figure out the key piece of info. We didn't tell us, but he's got the key piece of info there. I'm anxious to see what that is. I loved this stuff with Batman Beyond. Because that's Tim, right?
Yes.
Tim Drake version. It's a Tim Drake version.
Yes, it's Tim Drake, yeah.
So I love that this is something that's out of the realm of Tim Drake. Tim Drake doesn't do a lot of this kind of stuff. So I love that he has that moment where, at what point in time when you're in hell and you're Batman in hell, Bruce has referenced this kind of stuff before where he feels out of his league when we're doing these cosmic kind of things. And Bruce handles it differently because he's Batman. But I love that Tim has this moment, and it was great seeing Gold Hawk and Alan Scott handled it differently. Alan Scott did the right thing. Out of all of them, he recognized like what needed to be done. Like we needed to speed up the pep talk so we can get him back up and running. Knowing his mentor, knowing Batman, he knew exactly what to say that would be realistically portraying how Batman would handle this to shock Tim back into action. And I loved the dialogue there. It was short and sweet, but very much, that's the great thing about having the Kingdom Come writer, writing the Kingdom Come Green Lantern, because he nailed this scene.
Oh, God, yeah. And again, also, this Alan Scott's not the same as the Alan Scott we're used to. Ours is a little bit more kinder, a little bit more comforting. This Alan Scott is a little bit harsher. It's like this is the Kingdom Come. So I love everything you're saying. I completely agree with you. This was a great moment. We have an awesome thing there. And I loved how, again, it did get Tim back in the game. It got Batman back in the game because they need Batman in the game. Their numbers are dropping fast. Now, I love the fact that Superman Blue does let's do a recon. And I love Terrific's like, never divide the party. Come on. And I love he goes, I can never tell him what to do. You know?
Yeah. And that part works so well. I want to comment on the artwork, if I could. They've done a brilliant job of creating a horrific environment without making it too scary. You've got to appeal to a large audience, but yet we've got a head run through here. You know, I mean, that's like sitting there in the foreground. Doesn't that fancy bat suit armor you up? If you see there's a head that's run through on a stake over there. But it's not glorified gore for the sake of glorified gore. It's setting the stage. We are in hell. This is a terrifying environment. It puts you in a place where you're like, I get why Tim's feeling the way that he is, without gratuitously doing it, if I'm making sense. That balance is really hard when you're doing a monthly book like this, because you want to bring home that point. Like, there's a reason for all of them to be incredibly uncomfortable with where they're at, horrified by where they're at, but don't go too far. And the artwork, I thought, just did a great job of, there's gore and horror in this without it being excessive. And I don't get me wrong, I love horror movies. I love horror comics. So I love me some excessive horror stuff. It just wouldn't fit here. So I commend the art team, because scary, horrific, yes, not over the top. And that balance is really, really hard to achieve when you're trying to crack, because I feel like they're in danger. This feels like an overwhelmingly dangerous environment. You didn't need to go any farther than they did. That's a hard balance to find in a book that's supposed to be like this, more accessible to a larger audience. It's a good job.
Oh, God, yeah. And again, I do love the look of the individual heroes compared to the horror around them. They're keeping them they're doing a nice balance. They didn't just make this, I don't want to say unusual, but a different art style. They kept the standard. They kept the good classic comic book art style that I love, but added to the accents around. Like, these demons shouldn't look normal. They need to have these freaky looks to them. And they do a brilliant job with making what should look freaky, what should look like a hero, look like a hero. That's something I do appreciate. And again, I love with these heroic moments where you got Dr. Fate telling the demon, hey, allow us peaceful passage and we'll do harm. They're trying to not hurt demons. They're in hell. They're not going to back down. They're going to fight you no matter what. But I do love the heroes.
The demon's even recognizing, though, that she's lying.
Yeah.
She's like, seriously, you're not telling the truth there. You're going to stomp us down. I mean, I like that's the snakes flipping out of her eyes and just growing excessive points in size as they're going through all of this. I love that we're seeing Aquaman get overwhelmed, Dr. Fate get overwhelmed, Superman, Mr. Terrific, because of the sheer size, scope, and scale of these things. They're smothering them.
Yeah.
And the whole idea of him playing the game with her and playing a true and false statement. I really love that he comes back with, this is Mr. Terrific at his best.
Yes.
This statement is false. True or false? And I love that he throws it back there. And she's like, wait, you said it yourself, it's false. Wait, if it's false, then it's true. But then I love how he's setting up a continuity loop where she's got to keep going over it. It's a constant contradiction of what she's saying. And I love that part is playing against her. He has caused her to snap. It's like when you break a computer. It's what they did with Whopper in War Games.
Yes.
It really is what they did with Whopper in War Games. Mr. Terrific did a War Games move on this one. I loved it.
And I love the fact that it wasn't just they knew she wouldn't open the gate willingly for him. Mm-hmm. This, again, was another delay tactic to get the team, buy the team enough time to breach the next gate.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, in buying the team enough time to breach the gate, they also lost another member who's got a weakness of wood. And because she can read minds, she saw, oh, wood, huh? Fun. And she ejects wooden snakes at Alan Scott. And I'm like, oh, God.
And he shouted it out in a moment of kindness, because what he was trying to do really was calm Tim down and basically say, hey, I'm not perfect either. I've got my share of worries. He said, you can take me down with a toothpick.
Yeah.
Which I thought was a great line. He was trying to, this is still Alan Scott. To your point about our Alan Scott being kinder, this Alan Scott does have that person inside him because he is Alan Scott. And I liked the balance of him bringing that in. But Superman's reaction in particular, considering the rich history with Alan Scott, where he's screaming for him. And they keep saying that they want Neron. I love that Neron's watching all of this. He's got this group of servants behind him that he's ready to send out. And he's like, don't make it look too easy.
Yeah, so, Neron wants Terrific there.
Yes.
For whatever Neron's plans are, he wants Terrific to make it to him.
Right.
So this is the whole, that's why they're eliminating a couple of them, but not all of them. They're letting them get through the gates, but reducing their forces. And then again, whatever Neron has planned, who knows? And I love this final page again, because you don't know what's next.
No, this just keeps it moving. There's these stories have been fantastic. Want to wrap up with Knightfight?
Yep.
So we got Knightfight issue 2. The writer is Joshua Williamson. The artist is Dan Mora. Triona Farrell on colors. Tom Napolitano on letters. Cover by Dan Mora. Variant covers by Gilliam March. Jorge Molina. Kendrick Kunka Lim. James Reed is the assistant editor. Rob Levin is the editor. Batman created by Bob Kane with Bill Finger. And apologies for any of these books with name butchery, because we've really had some very solid art teams. I do want to talk about this cover, because I love the Under the Red Hood titling that's there. But you see Dick Grayson Batman fighting Bruce Wayne Batman in the Red Hood Batman's head. I love when they do creative stuff like that. I think it's just a really sharp looking cover. This one just stands out to me as being just one of the better covers I've seen.
Yeah, and one of the things, and I don't know if I commented on it last issue, but I do love the fact that Bruce has kind of like it's shaped like the bat, symbol, but it's more like the Klingon bat'leth.
Yeah.
The Klingon sword from Star Trek. I love him swinging that around and I love the fact that Bruce would bring that into this tournament. Bruce came armed to the bear, and I love the fact that he's got that weapon in there. You see it really cool on the cover, and later on in the issue, he actually uses it. I love that. That's again a neat little tie-in to this. Bring it in.
I was at GalaxyCon Columbus last weekend and got an opportunity to meet Dan Mora. He was he had his table and he was running. So the artist who did this book, and it was really nice to see at a convention lines for, like, Mark Bagley had a line, Dan Mora had a line. It was nice to see some of the big artists right now running a line. It was nice to see a lot of traffic in the Artist Alley area in general. Their Artist Alley isn't in the back. Their Artist Alley's in the middle in the way they do it. And I love it. It's in front of the celebrity area. So you have to go through that to get to the celebrity area. I think it's just, so if you're going for photo ops, celebrity meet and greets and stuff like that, voice actors and all that stuff, you're going through the comic creators to get there. I think that is so smart to get casual traffic, going through there, and as well as other people, just instead of burying them. There's some cons now where Artist Alley is buried, and I hate it. Because it's hard to find. A lot of times if there's creators that you didn't know were going to be there, you're like zipping on through. I managed to, at this con, find everybody what I try to do is, there were creators that I've seen before that were there. So I didn't hit on them because of the fact that I'm trying to hit the ones that I haven't hit previously. Because I'm trying to get signatures or prints or things like that, so that way I can get them framed, because I'm just trying to collect them all, if that makes sense. Just people that are really important to me. So I did not. This con was so busy that there were some of my favorites who I've met previously who I love to stop by and say hello and occasionally grab an art print or something like that from, that I didn't get a chance to do that this time because it was really focused on hitting everybody I hadn't seen before. But Dan Mora was one of them, and Mark Bagley was one of them I managed to catch this time around. They had big lines at their table. Twice I had to do that. Two of my favorite creators, Tom Zoller and Dave Wachter, I went to go over to their tables, and they were at panels, or they had heavy lines at the time, and I had to be somewhere else, so I didn't get a chance to say hello to them. But I was glad to see that. I love seeing traffic in the Artist Alley area. I just like the layout of that. I think there's something other conventions can learn. I'm making a lot of assumptions there, but at least from my perspective, a lot of traffic in that area, and I hope that translated to good things for comic creators in general. That was a well-attended con. But what I'm zipping back to that is I got a chance to meet Dan Mora. I'm digging his artwork.
Goddamn.
This book is an example of that. I mean, this is some great Batman storytelling. I love this world. Were you the one? I feel like you brought this up last time we talked about Knightfight, that this might be the heart. Was that you? Am I misrepresenting you?
Sure.
I thought you were speculating on what is actually going on with Batman.
I think I did throw that out there. It was one of those things. Hey, what about this? What about that? I would have thrown out a lot of stuff last.
Yeah,
so I'll be honest.
But I think this was one of your speculations.
One of my theories was that he's inside the heart.
Yeah, and that's where he is.
That's where he is. Yeah,
or at least if Bruce is right, that's where he is. I like the idea that it is Dick's heartbeat as they're fighting. That he's recognized this world is a lie, and this is the heart's unhappy with the fact that he escaped his fate.
He cheated.
Yeah. So it shoved him there. He cheated a lot of ways because he was allowed to bring one gadget that actually seems to have a lot because he's Batman. Yep. So this whole fight between Dick, this isn't the real Dick Grayson, and that's the part that he's recognizing, that there's so much of it that's right, but he's keying on the pieces that are wrong. Dick would not be training this army of Robins and treating them the way that he is. I love that he's playing into the things that the heart got right, so that way he's almost antagonizing this construct of a Dick Grayson that's in there, if I'm reading this right. And I love the way this whole battle goes down, where he takes down the Robins with ease at first, all for the purpose of antagonizing Dick so he can have the fight with him that was coming on. And Bruce's analysis of Dick Grayson, there are things that Dick Grayson does just because he was born to do them. They are just instinct. For me, I had to train in order to get to these pieces. Dick just does this, the poetry in motion that Dick Grayson does. Yeah. And at the end, he's recognizing that he didn't need to be Batman, but man, this Batman is the better Batman. Seeing Bruce analyze the situation as the strategist that he is was really great, because it does lead to how he's able to get the upper hand. And I loved everything about that sequence. Beautiful artwork in the battle. It was just great seeing the two of them fight, and the difference in their fighting styles. I just really liked it.
Oh God, yeah. And I'll say the again, brilliant story. Art really is one of the things on this issue that kind of really helped tell the story.
Oh yeah,
because you have these multiple pages. Well, first with the Robin fight, that was just absolutely brilliant. How you do it, that massive battle showing the chaos and the beauty and poetry in motion that is combat in a 2-page spread. Then you get into that the fight with Dick Grayson, all of that on 1 page, showing the multiple movements, the multiple combat. This was absolutely brilliant. All on 1 page is a thing that amazes me. They very easily could have put this on multiple pages. They're like, oh no, let's put it here. They balanced it so nicely that you got to sit there and just take your time with it. During my art read through, this page was just, I spent a long time just staring at the page, seeing the different moments of the fight where Dick gets the upper hand, Bruce gets the upper hand, Dick, and then that final flip kind of kick thing that Dick Grayson does to take down Bruce. I was just like, man, this is an absolutely brilliant page. And add to it the commentary that you said about how this Batman is not only becomes Batman, he's a better Batman. And I love just how that played out. This was 100% an absolute brilliant page of art telling a story.
Joshua Williamson's writing is just amazing. He's going to be writing in 2026 the new Iron Man series for Marvel. I think he's still going to be doing DC work, so I don't think it means that he's going bye-bye. But I think if there's a book like Iron Man, getting me to read Iron Man. I like Iron Man, by the way, so that makes me sound like it's like really like pulling teeth to do it. But prioritizing it on my list, you throw Joshua Williamson on there as a writer, read me some Iron Man, because I really enjoy Joshua Williamson's writing. So this is somebody who I will follow to other books and things along the way. It's this sequence where Bruce basically says, for being something I could never be, too trusting. And it does prove that is the edge that Batman has. Batman is just a little bit of a different cat. And Dick Grayson's beyond Bruce because of who his heart and some of those pieces. But I loved the way this played out. And Bruce basically saying, I need to do what I told Clark to do. He's ready to kill this Dick Grayson Batman and the ruthlessness to go forward, but never quite gets there. Is that where we're at? Was he gonna? Yeah. He was taking him down, right?
Oh yeah, he was driving the pallet into his chest, and he gets that energy and goes down. And I love the fact that universe is still in existence, because you see that final panel where Nightwing's like, Bruce, and you see the unconscious body of that version of Batman in there. So that universe is still in existence, because Bruce gets pulled into another gets pulled into the Red Hood universe. So I think or is he in both places at the same time? I don't know.
Because take a look at the panel where we get to see him zapped. He's in both places. If you look at the first panel, that's him with Dick Grayson still.
Right.
The second panel is in black and white. That's him with Jason Todd. Third panel is him still with Dick Grayson, and he's with Jason Todd. Are we going to see a Bruce Wayne who is between multiple worlds?
I think we may. I think we may get the final, because we got a couple issues. There's 4 issues in this.
Yeah.
I think in issue 4, we're going to get multiple Bruce Wayne Batmans from all the universes fighting at the same time.
I think it's the same guy.
Yes, but I think we're going to have multiple versions of him. You know?
Yeah. Right, but it's the same guy in all those outfits.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're saying the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think we're getting 5 Bruces. I think we're getting Bruce in multiple timelines at the same time, which is going to be the Heart's trying to screw with him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, the Heart's, I think, trying to punish him.
Right.
For cheating.
Well, and the Heart's, I think, trying to learn him some too. I think there's some learning going on here, and Batman's got to outthink the Heart, which is going to be an interesting sort of piece. The Jason Todd version of Bruce you can't argue with this. It's a sweet costume.
Oh God, yeah,
it is. It definitely has an evil look to it. Like it has an Asbats kind of feel to it, but it should with it being on that piece. I love that his whole storyline is incredibly different. He's basically saying, you're not Bruce, you think you're Bruce. And you can give me all these different stories about how you're trapped in a dark multiverse, you had powers. These are true facts that he's pointing out. So the Heart is playing off of and trying to convince Bruce that he's not Bruce, which is an interesting sort of piece.
Yeah, and I do love the fact that one of the multiverses that he threw out there was you're buff and carrying a big axe, which is the absolute. Yeah. So gotta keep throwing that reference in there. I love that. And I do love the fact that Jason Todd, again, Jason's Jason, but he isn't an idiot. Right. Just like we said with Bart before, he's not an idiot. He knows what's going on. And this version of Jason is like, he recognizes this is Clayface. This is not Bruce. But you're so locked into being Batman, you think you're Batman, but you're not Batman, you're Clayface. And I love that we get that kind of that moment. And again, aged Jason Todd, they aged him a little bit and put some gray in his hair, and we find out later it's 20 years. I love that they keep doing these little variations on the different timeline of the families.
Yeah, this part, it's really fantastic. Seeing the fight between the two of them is great, and I love that Bruce is like, this is Arkham. I know Arkham. The best way to go with Arkham is up and out. Let's get out. Until he gets into this reality that they're in a Brainiac-like bubble because of the Joker gas, which is a whole other piece here, which I love that the Red Hood's putting his helmet back on. He needs that helmet on because they're inside this environment.
Yeah. Well, he's also putting the helmet on because it's time to fight.
Right, right.
But I do like this. Again, we had this story with Dick Grayson where it was more positive. Grayson was able to raise up the Robins and actually work together and have a more peaceful Gotham. Jason's version of Gotham, it's more peaceful because everybody's dead. And he's the sole guardian of a dead city underneath this giant...
Also keeping other people from coming in. Because here's the problem. You don't want that bubble breached that's been put there. So he's tasked with this responsibility of keeping the larger population protected from this.
Yeah. Now, and that is something that did make me wonder, who would want to go into this universe? Now, to answer my own question, I was thinking maybe bad guys who want to steal the Joker gas or try to weaponize it or whatnot. I'm not sure.
Or hold the world hostage by saying we're going to unleash this,
that kind of stuff. But in the end, Jason Todd's in there 100% alone. And again, that's the side of Bruce, the loner side of Bruce. That's the one thing Bruce, we've never had a good story where Bruce has a happy ending because he has to be the loner. Even when he's got his Robins around him, even when he's got Damian, his son, there's always that element of loner that he has to have. He's got to have that darkness in him. And this is the showing Bruce the darkness that you have is a consumption. It's affecting your life. And it's kind of neat that all these variations on the things that terrify Bruce are these different stories, these different parts. And it does make me wonder what's next. And I think that's for me the excitement, because as I'm reading this story, I love this story. This story is absolutely brilliant. Some of these, again, these 2-page spreads with the fight between Red Hood and Bruce, Jason and Bruce battle, just like the Nightwing battle, that was absolutely brilliant. I loved this. But then you get to that moment, that realization when he's like, silence. What? Wait. Yeah. And I love that moment when Bruce is just he's like, what the heck's going on here? And we get this fight and you get this realization that Jason's been there 20 years. And even Bruce is now starting to kind of put it together that the heart wants the combat, wants the conflict, wants Bruce in pain. So he's like, fine. You say I'm Clayface? I'll play along. Yeah. And I loved the Clayface attack.
Yes.
That is brilliant.
Well, Bruce recognizing the fact that this Jason, this construct Jason, really does believe that's Clayface and may be right. So I love that Bruce is like, well, let me lean into that then. And I loved that. The ending battle, I thought, was just really a great way to end a cliffhanger. And I love that it's Batman versus Red Hood and Clayface. I don't know if we're going to get more Dick Grayson next month or not. I don't know. Take me wherever you want to take me. That's where I am with this particular book. Again, another book that I didn't know where this one was going to go, but wow, am I enjoying it. And this is the first issue of Fight Month so now we're into the December Fight Month, which the next few episodes we're going to be doing are all Fight Month. And I'm up for some Fight Month.
Holy caffeine!
RagingBullets.com is our show website. That's where you can find out details on upcoming episodes. It does feed into Twitter/X and our Facebook fan page. We are proud to be part of an amazing Facebook group community. I want to thank everyone that continues to post there. There's always posting news, updates, articles, blogs, even shout outs to podcasts. Please continue using that as a contact thread for anything that you're doing. If you're a listener on here and you happen to have a podcast and you want to shout it out, please go ahead and do that. Blog posts go up there all the time for people that are running blogs. I really like that collective sharing that we have in that particular group. The About Us section of our show website, you can find details on how to connect with us on gaming platforms and personal social media. I am a regular co-host on Is It Jaws bi-weekly with Paul Spataro, where we are doing film reviews using the Jaws 1 through 4 scale. And I'm just having a blast over there. So please consider joining us and checking out the work that we're doing on Is It Jaws. We are sponsored, as always, by DCB Service and InStockTrades.com. Mr. Seguin, what's going on over at DCBService.com?
With DC KO Boss Battle One Shot, 38% off, only $309. We've got the complete works of Neil Adams' Batman Absolute Hardcover, 36% off, $62.
Yes, please.
Yes, please. DC vs. AEW's issue 1 of 2, 38%, only $309. And Bleeding Hearts #1, 48% off, only $207. Thank you, DCBS.
Over at InStockTrades.com, as I shouted out at the beginning of the episode, DC Finest, Wonder Woman, introducing Wonder Woman trade paperback. Again, 528 pages. It's on special right now. $39.99 regularly, 55% off, only $17.99. This, if you don't have this work, or even if you're looking for a reader's copy, what a price point to be able to grab that at. I want to thank DCB Service and InStockTrades.com for continuing to support our show. Mr. Seglin, we're going to be back next week, and we're going to be talking about more DCKO with DCKO Superman versus Captain Atom, Aquaman #12, and DCKO Wonder Woman versus Lobo as Fight Month continues. We will see you then.
Bye!
All right, you guys. Are you ready to sing your song?
I'd say we are. Yeah, let's sing it now.
Okay, this should be fun. Now get ready for your cue. Okay, Sean?
Okay.
Okay, Jim? Jim? Jim!
Okay. Raging Bullets time is here. We talk about what we hold dear. Comic books and TV shows. Superheroes and their clothes. Justice League and so much more. I just love Green Lantern Corps. We talk about the books we've read with spoilers straight ahead.
Okay, fellas, get ready. That was very good, Sean.
Naturally.
Jim, you're a little flat there, so be careful. Jim? Jim? Jim!
Okay. Justice League and so much more. I still love Green Lantern Corps. DC Comics are what we know. The Raging Bullet Show. DC Comics are what we know. The Raging Bullet Show.
Excellent job, guys.
Let's sing it again. Yeah, let's sing it again.
No, that's enough. Let's not push it.
Push it. What is that? Yeah, what are you talking about?
No, I didn't
What
mean
are you
anything
trying
by
to say?
that.
I think
Sean,
you're going to
Jim,
I don't know
how
why
long do
you're
you want the
upset.
song to go?
Look, it's our